Before you decide this is just another video, I need you to understand something. You did not find this by accident. You did not arrive here because an algorithm happened to work out in a particular way on a particular night, and this happened to be the thing that showed up. The algorithm is a tool, and tonight the one who is greater than all tools used it to put this specific word in front of your specific eyes at this specific moment. You were sent here. This message was prepared for you. And the reason I need you to know that before anything else is said is this. If you know you were sent here, you will receive what was sent with you in mind differently than if you think you stumbled here by chance. This message is for the one who almost kept scrolling, the one who almost chose something else, the one who paused for a reason they could not fully explain and stayed. That pause was not random. That pause was the response in you to a pull from outside you. The pull of the one who arranged for this word to reach you tonight. Write "sent" in the comments if you believe this message found you for a reason. Just that word. Because naming the divine appointment is itself an act of faith, and faith is what receives what the appointment was sent to deliver. And if you are not yet sure, if you are watching this with the part of you that is still uncertain whether the appointment is real, whether messages like this find the people they are addressed to, or whether they simply land on whoever happens to be watching at the time, I want to speak to that part of you too, because the Ethiopian was not sure either until Philip explained. The woman at the well was not sure until the conversation went deep enough that the specific knowing was unmistakable. Peter was not sure what the vision meant until the men arrived at the door. The appointment does not require certainty before it begins. It requires only the staying, the continued watching, the willingness to receive what arrives at the door even before you are certain you know who sent it or why. The Spirit said to Peter, "Do not hesitate to go with them." Not, "Figure out first whether this is real." Not, "Wait until you have certainty before you open the door." Do not hesitate. Go. Let the encounter be the explanation. If you are still watching, you have not hesitated. You went with them. The door is open, and what is coming through the door is what was sent. The certainty will come as the word comes all the way in. The same way Philip's explanation turned Isaiah 53 from a confusing passage into the passage that opened everything for the Ethiopian. The explanation arrives when the encounter is allowed to unfold completely, and you are allowing it. You are still here. That is enough. That is the act of faith that receives the appointment. In the ancient book of Proverbs, there is a line that has echoed through generations of people who found themselves in exactly the situation you are in tonight. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. And in the same tradition there is another line, equally ancient, equally relevant to the one receiving this word tonight. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Many plans. The plans of the one who is trying to navigate their own life, trying to arrange their own appointments, trying to get to the right well at the right hour by their own calculation. And those plans are not dismissed or ignored. They are seen. The same way the Ethiopian's plan to travel home from Jerusalem was seen. The plan was real, the journey was real, the chariot was real, the scroll was real. And into the middle of the plan, into the carrying out of the Ethiopian's own agenda for his own day on his own road, the Lord's purpose arrived. And the Lord's purpose was greater than the plan, not in opposition to it, not displacing it, not cancelling it, greater than it, inside it. Arriving in the chariot of the Ethiopian's own journey, in the middle of the Ethiopian's own day, the Lord's purpose is arriving inside your own journey tonight, inside your own plan for this hour, inside the ordinary movements of your ordinary late night, inside whatever you were doing before the pause that brought you here. The purpose is greater than the plan, and it arrives in the middle of the plan, and when it arrives, the plan becomes the context for the purpose rather than the thing the purpose interrupted. You planned something for tonight, or didn't plan. You were simply moving through the evening the way evenings move, one thing to the next, the natural drift of a tired hour. And in the middle of that, a pause. And in the pause, this word. And in this word, the purpose that was greater than whatever the plan was. Not opposed to the plan, present inside it, arrived in the middle of it. The Lord's purpose prevailing, not by force, not by overwhelming the Ethiopian's travel plans, but by being present in the travel plans, being present in the journey, being present in the pause, in the scroll, in the specific passage being read at the specific moment when Philip arrived alongside. Not generally directed, specifically. Steps, The individual choices, the individual movements, the individual moments of hesitation and decision that constitute a human life. Directed. Not left to chance, not abandoned to the algorithm, not subject only to the physics of what tends to happen. Directed. By the one who knows where you need to be, and what you need to hear, and what you are ready to receive in this specific moment of your specific life. My precious child, you are here because you were directed here. The one who directs the steps of the ones he loves directed yours to this place tonight. And this is what he has to say. Let me say this more slowly than you might expect, because I think it deserves to be received slowly, rather than passed over quickly. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. The steps, not the destination only, the steps. Which means, the step you took today that led to this moment was directed, and the step before that, and the step before that. The whole sequence of steps that brought you to the specific device in your specific hand, in the specific room where you are in the specific hour of this specific night. Every step in that sequence was directed. This is not a small thing to believe. It means that the direction is not only visible in the large, obvious pivots, the moments when you clearly chose one path over another, the moments that feel significant as they are happening. It means the direction is operating in the small, ordinary, barely noticed movements, the slight turn of attention, the brief hesitation, the momentary impulse to pause before scrolling. The direction is that fine-grained. It is operating at the level of the step, not only at the level of the life chapter. My precious child, this should be deeply comforting. It means that the moments in your life when you felt most lost, most unguided, most uncertain of where you were going, those moments were not moments of abandonment. They were moments when the direction was operating below the level you could feel it, below the level of the obvious guidance, at the level of the step, moving you, one quiet step at a time, through the confusion and the uncertainty, toward the place where you needed to be next, not because the path looked clear from the inside, but because the one directing the steps does not require the person taking the steps to be able to see the destination in order to direct them toward it. You arrived here without knowing you were arriving here. That is the beauty of the directed step. You did not navigate to this appointment by your own clarity. You arrived by the direction of the one whose navigation is perfect, whose timing is always exactly right, who moved you one step at a time through everything that led to this night, and brought you here at exactly the hour when the word was ready for you and you were ready for the word. My beloved, I want you to understand something about the nature of the divine appointment, the specific meeting that happens when the one who holds all of time sets it up so that the right word reaches the right person at the right moment. These appointments do not look like appointments from the inside. From the inside, they look like a late night, like a phone in your hand, like a video that appeared in your feed among dozens of other videos, like a pause that happened for no particular reason. From the outside, from the perspective of the one who arranged it, it looks like precision, like the specific preparation of the specific word for the specific person in the specific moment of the specific need. You are on the inside of an appointment that looks like chance. I am on the outside of it, where I can tell you, this was not chance, this was sent. My dear one, tonight I want to take you into 5 stories, 5 moments in the scripture where a specific word, a specific meeting, a specific encounter was divinely arranged for a specific person who did not know it was coming, who thought they were simply living their ordinary day, who had no idea that what appeared to be a coincidence was in fact the most precisely timed appointment of their life. And in each of these stories, the word that came with the appointment changed everything, and so will this one. But before I begin, I want you to feel what it means to be sent something, not to receive something passively, the way rain falls on everyone alike. To be sent something. The distinction matters enormously. Rain does not choose its ground, but a letter is addressed. It has a name on it. It was prepared by someone who thought about the recipient, who considered what was needed, who chose the words with that specific person in mind. And the person who receives a letter addressed to them receives it differently than they receive the rain. Because a letter is proof that someone thought about them. Someone held their name in mind long enough to write it down and send it. Someone made a decision. This person, this word, this moment, this word tonight was addressed to you. That is not a metaphor. That is not a comfort phrase offered to make you feel special in a general way. The one who holds all of time prepared this message with this specific moment of your specific life in view, because he sees this moment the way you cannot yet see it. From the completed perspective of the one who already knows what comes next, who already knows what you are carrying, who already knows what this word will do in you once you receive it fully. He addressed this to you. He sent it. You are reading a letter from the one who knows your name. And the question that a letter always raises, the question that a letter demands from its recipient, is simply this: what will you do with what was sent? The Ethiopian eunuch was reading Isaiah when Philip arrived. He did not put down the scroll and say, "This is too much to take in all at once." He said, "I cannot understand this unless someone explains it." He stayed open to the explanation. He kept his seat. He let Philip sit beside him. And he received the word that had been sent all the way from a quiet prompting in Samaria to a desert road in order to find him in his chariot, reading the 53rd chapter of Isaiah. You are in your chariot tonight. The word has been sent. And the only question is whether you will receive it the way it was addressed to you, with all of yourself, with the openness of the one who knows they were not here by accident, or whether you will let it pass through like weather, undirected, undreamed of, unreceived. Stay in this, my precious child, because everything that happens in the rest of this night depends on the position you hold in this moment, not the physical position of your body, though that matters too. Let it soften now, let it settle, let it open, but the internal position, the position of the one who knows a letter was sent for them, the one who is ready to read it carefully, the one who will not put it down until the explanation is complete. There is another thing I want you to understand about what it means to be sent a specific word at a specific moment. The timing of a divine appointment is never accidentally early and never accidentally late. The Ethiopian was not approached by Philip on his way to Jerusalem, when he had not yet been to the temple, when he had not yet been in the presence of the worship that prepared his heart to receive. He was approached on his way home, after the worship, after the feeding of the spiritual hunger that had brought him all that way from Ethiopia to Jerusalem in the first place. The preparation was complete. The soil of his heart had been worked by everything that came before the encounter. And then the encounter arrived. You have been prepared for this word by everything that came before this moment. The questions you have been carrying, the late nights that led you here, the season of seeking that brought you to this specific place at this specific hour. Nothing in your preparation was wasted. Every single thing that brought you to this moment was the preparation for this moment. The angel who sent Philip to the road knew about the preparation. He knew the Ethiopian was ready. He sent Philip at exactly the right time, after the preparation was complete and before the window of readiness closed. This is the precision of the divine appointment. It arrives when you are ready. At the moment the preparation meets the word, you are ready. The word has arrived. And what happens in the next hours, while you receive and while you sleep, will be the appointed delivery of what was prepared with you specifically in view. First story begins on a desert road between Jerusalem and Gaza, where there was nothing much to see. A road through the desert is not an obvious place for a life-changing encounter. It is a road between one place and another. It is the in-between. It is the stretch where the interest of the journey fades. Jerusalem is behind. Ethiopia is still far ahead, and there is nothing to look at but sand and the way the heat makes the air shimmer and the occasional scrub plant holding on in the dry ground. The desert road is the road that most travelers simply endure. They keep the chariot moving. They keep their eyes forward. They count the distance to the next water. This is the road where Philip was sent, not to a city, not to a temple, not to a marketplace, not to the place where crowds gather and where it would be obvious why a messenger would be sent there. To the desert road between Jerusalem and Gaza, the inconvenient road. The road no one would choose if they were choosing an interesting location for a significant encounter, and it is the road where the Ethiopian was traveling, because he was on his way home, and home is in the direction of Gaza, and Gaza is at the end of this desert road, and the desert road is where the chariot is, and the chariot is where the man is, and the man is reading Isaiah 53. There was a man traveling in a chariot. He was a man of significant position, the treasurer of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. He had been to Jerusalem to worship, and he was on his way home, and he was reading. Specifically, he was reading the book of the prophet Isaiah. Specifically, he was reading the 53rd chapter, the passage about the suffering servant, the one led like a sheep to the slaughter, the one who was silent before his shearers. He was reading these words, and he did not understand them. He was reading about something that was about to change his entire life, and he did not yet know what he was reading. I want to notice what he was doing before we get to what happened. He was reading, on a chariot, on a desert road, on the way home from a worship trip that had left him still hungry for understanding. He was not passive. He was actively engaging with the word, even the word he could not yet understand. He had the scroll. He was reading it. He was the kind of person who travels all the way from Ethiopia to Jerusalem to worship, who carries the scroll of Isaiah on the return journey, who reads it in the middle of a desert road because the hunger for the word is greater than the inconvenience of reading in a moving chariot in the heat. The kind of person who receives the divine appointment is often the kind of person who is already actively seeking, not perfectly, not without confusion, but seeking, reading the scripture they do not yet understand, making the long journey to the place where the word is, staying in the posture of the hungry even when the hunger has not yet been satisfied. And the appointment finds them in the seeking, in the active engagement with the word, in the middle of the desert road that has not yet produced the understanding they came looking for. My beloved, I want to say something about the specific scripture the Ethiopian was reading, Isaiah 53. He was led like a sheep to the slaughter, and as a lamb before its shearer is silent, so he did not open his mouth. This is the passage about the suffering servant, the one who was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities, the one whose punishment brought us peace, whose stripes were our healing. He was reading about the one who suffered unjustly and said nothing, who took the weight of what was not his and bore it without complaint, who went through the thing that should not have been his and was silent in the going. The Ethiopian could not understand who the passage was about. He asked Philip, "Is the prophet talking about himself or about someone else?" And Philip explained. Starting from that scripture, Philip told him the good news about Jesus. "My precious child, are you carrying something that should not be yours? A weight that you did not choose, a suffering that came without explanation, a thing that feels unjust in the carrying." The scripture the Ethiopian could not understand was the scripture about the one who carried what was not his. And the explanation of that scripture, the good news about Jesus that Philip told him starting from that passage, is the specific news for the person who is carrying what feels like it should not be theirs. He carried it, he bore it. And the carrying was not meaningless. The stripes were our healing, the punishment brought our peace. The word for the person carrying what should not be theirs is not only, hold on, it will be over eventually. The word is, the carrying is not meaningless. The weight that feels unjust is being carried by the one who bore unjust weight, and whose bearing produced healing that reaches further than the bearer could see from within the suffering. This is the news that Philip told the Ethiopian from Isaiah 53. And this is the news that is inside this word tonight, for the one who has been carrying what feels like it should not be theirs, who could not understand the passage they were reading, whose desert road has had more desert in it than anticipated. Philip explained, and the water beside the road appeared, and the receiving and the baptism happened all on the same desert road. At the same moment, somewhere else, there was a man named Philip. Philip was not on the Gaza road. He had been in Samaria, where a great revival had been happening. Healings, deliverances, the entire city responding to the good news. Things were going well where he was, and then an angel of the Lord spoke to him. The angel said, "Get up and go south to the road, the desert road, that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza." No further explanation, no description of what he would find there, no briefing on the purpose of the mission, just, go south to the desert road. And Philip got up and went. There is something in the going that I want you to hold. The angel did not say go, and here is why. The angel did not say go, and here is what you will find. The angel did not say go, because there is a man in a chariot reading Isaiah 53, who is the treasurer of the Queen of Ethiopia, and he is ready to receive the explanation of the passage, and your going will lead to his baptism and his return to Africa and the spread of the gospel to an entire continent. None of that. Just go south to the desert road. And Philip went, without the explanation, without the preview, without the knowledge of what the going would produce. He went in the condition of the person who trusts the sender enough to go without the rationale being provided. The sender is trustworthy. The instruction came from the sender. That is enough to go on. My precious child, there are some instructions in your life that have come without the rationale. The sense that you should go somewhere, reach for something, stop doing something, begin something different, call someone, stay in the room, leave the room. and the instruction did not come with the explanation attached. And the temptation in those moments is to wait for the explanation before obeying, to stay in Samaria, where the rationale for staying is visible and the results are evident, rather than going to the desert road where the rationale is absent and the results are not yet imaginable. Philip went, and the Ethiopian was in the chariot with Isaiah 53. The rationale was at the other end of the going, not attached to the instruction itself, and that is often how it works. The explanation is at the destination, not at the departure. Go first, understand later. The going is not blind, it is based on trust in the sender, but it is going without the map, going in the direction of the instruction rather than the direction of the explained outcome. You are here tonight because you went. You paused. You moved in the direction of the pause without fully knowing what the pause would contain. Something like an instruction, something like a pull, something like the gentle sense that this, rather than that, was what this moment was for. And you went. You moved in the direction of the pull, and the appointment was at the other end of the going. That is faithful. That is the same quality Philip showed, and the same quality that made the appointment possible. My precious child, I want you to stay for a moment in the obedience of Philip before we get to the encounter, because the encounter was only possible because of the going. The angel said go, and Philip went without knowing what was at the other end of the going. He left the place where things were working and went to a desert road because that is what was asked. The divine appointment could not happen without the faithfulness of the person who agreed to show up at the arranged place without knowing why they were being asked to go there. And then Philip arrived at the road, and there was the chariot. And the Spirit said to Philip, go to that chariot and stay near it. And Philip ran to the chariot. He heard the man reading Isaiah, and he asked, do you understand what you are reading? And the Ethiopian said, how can I, unless someone explains it to me? And he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. My beloved, I want you to feel the precision of this moment. The Ethiopian treasurer is reading the exact passage, Isaiah 53, that describes the suffering and death and resurrection of Jesus. He has been to Jerusalem to worship. He is hungry for the word. He is reading the exact text that, once explained, will open the door to faith. He is in the chariot. He is on the specific road. And Philip arrives at the specific moment, sent specifically to explain specifically this passage to specifically this man who is specifically ready to receive it. How can I understand unless someone explains it to me? The preparation on both sides. The Ethiopian was reading because he was hungry. Philip was running because he was obedient. And the Spirit arranged the meeting in the middle of the desert because the Ethiopian treasurer was not going to be left without the word he needed just because he happened to be on a road through a desert on his way home from Jerusalem on this particular afternoon. Philip explained. Starting with the passage the Ethiopian was already reading, starting exactly where the man already was, Philip told him the good news about Jesus. And the Ethiopian looked up from the chariot and saw water beside the road and said, look, here is water. What can stand in the way of my being baptized? And he was baptized, right there, on the desert road, in the water that happened to be beside the road at the moment when the hunger and the word and the obedient messenger all converged in the specific place at the specific time. My dear one, you are the Ethiopian in the chariot tonight. You have been reading, searching, seeking, hungry for the explanation of the thing you have been carrying but not yet fully understanding. And the one who sent Philip to the desert road sent this word to your screen tonight, because the hunger you have been carrying has prepared you to receive what this word is bringing. You did not have to go to Jerusalem to worship. You are right here, in your chariot, in the middle of your ordinary evening. And the messenger sent to explain was directed to your specific location. The word arrived because you were ready for it, and because the one who arranges these things does not leave the hungry person without the word they need on the road they are traveling. How can I understand unless someone explains it to me? The explanation is here. You were sent to receive it, and what you receive tonight will change the direction of everything that comes next, the same way the Ethiopian's desert encounter changed the direction of everything that came after that afternoon on the road to Gaza. The Ethiopian went back to Ethiopia. He carried the word home across the desert road, across the sea, across the distance between Jerusalem and the land he came from. And what he carried there, the explanation of Isaiah 53, the baptism taken in the water beside the road, the encounter with Philip, who was sent specifically to meet him, became the seed of the presence of the good news on a continent. The appointment that seemed small and private and specific to one man in one chariot on one afternoon on a desert road produced fruit across centuries and geographies that no one standing at the water's edge that day could have fully imagined. You are not only receiving for yourself tonight, you are receiving as the one who will carry what was received forward into the territory that you are going back to. And the carrying will produce things you cannot yet see from the chariot. The word travels with the carrier. The appointment continues in the carried. Go on your way rejoicing, and let the word go with you. There is one more thing about the Ethiopian that I want to give you before we move on. The word of God says that after the baptism, after Philip was taken away, the Ethiopian went on his way rejoicing. He did not spend the rest of the journey processing whether the encounter had been real. He did not spend the rest of the ride home worrying about whether Philip was actually a credible messenger. He did not spend the night second-guessing whether the water beside the road was actually there, or whether the baptism meant what Philip said it meant. He went on his way rejoicing. The rejoicing was the immediate response to the received appointment. Not after a period of analysis and confirmation. Immediately, in the chariot, on the road, rejoicing at the explanation received and the baptism taken and the life now being lived on the other side of the encounter. I am inviting you to that rejoicing. Not as a performance, not the forced enthusiasm of the person trying to feel what they think they are supposed to feel. The natural, quiet rejoicing of the person who has received something real. The Ethiopian's rejoicing was not described as loud or visible. He simply went on his way rejoicing. It was internal. It was the quality of the traveling that had changed. He was in the same chariot, on the same road, headed in the same direction, but the person in the chariot was different, and the difference was joy. The quiet, settled, going on his way joy of the one who has been found on the desert road and knows it. My precious child, I want you to feel for a moment the full weight of what just happened in this story. Philip was in Samaria, and things were going well. There was a revival. People were being healed. The entire city was experiencing something remarkable. If you had asked Philip to rate his current assignment, he would have said, "This is it. This is exactly where I should be. This is the place of maximum fruitfulness, maximum impact, maximum evidence that I am in the right place doing the right thing." And the angel told him to leave it, not permanently, but to leave the place where everything was working and go to a desert road, by himself, with no explanation of why. Get up and go. This is the cost of the obedience that makes the appointment possible. Sometimes the place where things are going well is not the place where you are supposed to be next. Sometimes the place you are supposed to go next looks like a step backward, from the revival city to the desert road, from the place of crowds and healings and visible results to the place of sand and heat and one man in a chariot reading a scroll he does not understand. And the fruitfulness of the desert road could not be measured by the standards of the Samarian revival. It was not the healing of an entire city. It was the healing of one man's understanding, one man, on one road, in one afternoon, reading one passage in one prophet's book. The scale was completely different, the visibility was completely different, and the eternal significance was completely different from what the scale and the visibility would suggest. Because the Ethiopian treasurer went back to Ethiopia, and what he carried back to Ethiopia is what spread the gospel to an entire continent. The small, private, one-man encounter on the desert road was the beginning of the witness that reached Africa. The desert road appointment produced more than the Samarian revival, because the desert road appointment sent a messenger home to an entire people who had not yet heard what Philip explained to him in the chariot. My beloved, the appointment that seems small, the late-night encounter, the private word, the one video that found one person on one screen on one particular night, can be the desert road encounter that sends a person back to their Ethiopia with a word that changes everything there. You are not only receiving for yourself tonight, you are receiving as the one who will carry what you received back into the territory that you are returning to. And the territory you are returning to needs what you are carrying. And the people in that territory will be different because of what you received on this road tonight. My precious child, I want to stay one more moment with the Ethiopian before we move to the second story, because there is something in his story that speaks directly to the condition of the person who is watching this tonight. The Ethiopian was a powerful man. He had status, resources, position. He was the treasurer of a queen. He could have looked at his chariot, at his servants, at the long journey he had made all the way to Jerusalem and back, and said, "I have done everything in my power to seek this. I have used every resource available to me. I have gone to the place where the word is, and I still do not fully understand it. And maybe that is the limit of what I can receive. Maybe understanding is not for someone like me, someone from this background, on this road, in this situation. He did not say any of that. He did not measure the distance between where he was and where understanding seemed to live and conclude that the gap was unbridgeable. He simply stayed open. He kept reading. He stayed in the posture of the hungry. And when the messenger arrived, he did not question the messenger's right to approach his chariot. He did not demand credentials. He did not ask why a stranger was running alongside the chariot of the treasurer of the queen. He asked, "Do you understand what you are reading?" And Philip ran alongside that chariot until the conversation happened, until the explanation came, until the window opened that let the word enter the way it was always meant to enter. There is a quality I want you to notice in the Ethiopian: willingness. A pure, undefended willingness to receive. He was not protecting himself from the word. He was not approaching it with the armor of the one who has been disappointed before, who has hoped before and not received what they hoped for, who has been told things that turned out not to be true. He was reading with an open heart. He was asking with genuine hunger. He was sitting in the chariot of his ordinary life, with the scroll of Isaiah open in his hands and his full attention on the passage he could not yet understand. That is the posture of the person who receives the divine appointment for what it is. Not the defended posture of the disappointed, not the skeptical posture of the one who has been told too many things and believed too few of them. The open posture of the hungry, the posture that says, "Explain it to me, because I want to understand." My beloved, I am asking you to receive this word in that posture tonight. Whatever has made you defended, whatever history has put the armor on, I am asking you to set it aside for this hour, not forever, just for tonight. Open hands, open heart, the willingness to let the explanation come all the way in, to let it reach the place in you where the thing you have been reading without fully understanding finally becomes clear. Because the Ethiopian's chariot was always going to lead to water. The road was always going to carry him past the place where baptism was possible. The question was only whether he would stay open enough to recognize it when it arrived. You were sent here tonight, and the water, the provision, the answer, the word that changes the direction, is right here, beside the road you are traveling. The question is only whether you will see it. The second story takes place at a well, in the middle of the day, in a place that nobody expected the word of God to appear. The word of John chapter 4 begins with a statement that has puzzled readers for centuries. He had to go through Samaria. Not he chose to go through Samaria. Not the road through Samaria was convenient. Not the timing worked out so that he ended up passing through Samaria. He had to go through Samaria. The Greek word implies divine necessity, the kind of had to that is not about geography or logistics, but about the purpose of God. Jews in that time did not go through Samaria. They took the long way around, across the Jordan and back again, specifically to avoid passing through a territory whose people they considered unclean, and whose history was complicated, and whose presence made the journey religiously inconvenient. They had other routes. They used them. He did not have to go through Samaria in any logistical sense. He had to go through Samaria because someone was there who needed to be found. My precious child, I want you to feel what that sentence contains. Not he chose to go through Samaria, which would make it a preference, a convenience, a matter of logistics. He had to. The divine compulsion. The necessity that is not about geography, but about person, about the specific, named, known, loved person who was at that specific well, at that specific hour, who needed to be found, and who could only be found if the one looking for her went through the territory everyone else avoided. He rerouted. He took the road no one else was taking. He went through the territory that was considered unacceptable. Because you do not let the one you have come to find remain unfound, simply because the route to them passes through inconvenient territory. He had to, because she was there, because she mattered enough to reroute for, because the divine appointment cannot fail to keep itself simply because the road is uncomfortable. Tonight, something chose the uncomfortable route to reach you, the algorithm that doesn't normally serve this kind of content. The late hour that isn't when you usually stop. The pause that happened before you understood why you were pausing. Something took the Samaria route. Something went the way that wasn't the obvious way, because you were there, and you mattered enough to reroute for. He arrived at Jacob's well near a town called Sychar. He sat down by the well. It was the 6th hour, noon, the hottest part of the day. Women came to draw water in the morning and the evening when it was cool. At noon, the well was usually empty. Today it was not. She came to draw water at noon specifically because she did not want to encounter the other women who came in the morning and the evening. The noon hour was her specific hour. The hour when she could come alone, without the eyes of the community on her, without the whispers. The heat was worth the privacy. She came alone, and he was there, waiting at the well, at exactly her hour, because he had to go through Samaria, and she was the reason. I want to notice something about the way the story sets this up. The well is called Jacob's well. Jacob's well, the well of the patriarch, the well that goes back to the history of the people, the well that connects to the whole long story of a God who has been finding his people in specific places for a very long time. This is not a random water source in the middle of nowhere. It is Jacob's well, the well with a name, with a history, with a meaning that stretches back through generations of appointments that looked like ordinary things, wells, roads, fields, rooftops, but were in fact the specific locations of the specific encounters that shaped the whole story. God meets his people at named wells, at named roads, at named pools, at named trees, at the specific places where the ordinary meets the appointed. And he was at Jacob's well at the 6th hour, because she was going to be there at the 6th hour, and Jacob's well was the specific location of her specific appointment on this specific day. Your life has named wells, the specific places where the ordinary and the appointed have met in your experience, maybe already, maybe still to come. Tonight is one of them. This specific hour, in the specific place where you are watching this, is the well where the appointment keeps itself. He asked her for a drink of water, and the conversation that followed, the conversation about living water, about the water that becomes a spring welling up to eternal life, about worshipping in spirit and in truth, changed everything about who she was and what her story meant and what she would do for the rest of her life. My precious child, I want you to feel the specific quality of the noontime appointment. She came at noon because noon was her time of hiding, her time of minimum visibility, her time of least chance of encounter, and that is precisely the hour he arrived at the well and sat down and waited. The appointment found her in her hiding. The word reached her at the hour she had chosen to be most alone. My beloved, you are reading this at your noon hour. Not necessarily 12 o'clock, the noon of your life, the hour of your hiding, the specific moment of your particular desire to be less visible than you have been in other seasons, the hour when you did not expect to encounter the specific word for your specific situation. He had to go through Samaria. He had to reach you at your noon hour. He could not leave you without this word at the hour when you most needed it and least expected it. And here is what happened when she received the word. She left her water jar, the thing she had come for, the practical purpose of the noon trip, and she ran back into the town. The woman who had come to the well specifically to avoid the people of the town ran back to the people of the town and said, "Come, see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah?" And the people came. Many of them believed because of her testimony. The woman who hid at noon became the first evangelist to her entire town, because the divine appointment found her at her hiding hour and did not leave her as she had arrived. The noontime appointment changed her into the person she was supposed to be, the person she could not have become through the morning or the evening encounters that she was successfully avoiding. The hiding hour was the specific hour of her transformation. My dear one, the hiding hour that brought you to this message tonight is the specific hour that will transform what the morning reveals you to be. The word found you in the hiding, and it is not going to leave you as it found you. I want to stay with this woman for a little while longer, because the conversation that happened at the well did not stay at the surface level. It went deep, deeper than she expected, deeper than a conversation with a stranger at a public well had any right to go. He told her about the 5 husbands. He named the thing she had not said. And the reason he named it was not to expose her, not to shame her in the place she had chosen specifically to avoid shame, not to rehearse the history that she had learned to carry quietly and alone. He named it because he wanted her to know that she was fully known by the one speaking to her. Not partially known, not known in the way a stranger knows the surface of a person, but known the way only God can know, all the way down, all the way back, all the way into the parts she had not shown anyone. You are fully known tonight by the one who arranged this appointment. Not just the presentable parts, not just the seeking, hungry night watcher part of you that found this video and is receiving these words, the whole of you, the 5 husbands part, the noon hour part, the parts you would not bring to the morning crowd or the evening crowd, the parts that have made you choose, again and again, the hour of minimum visibility. He knows all of it. He came through Samaria specifically knowing all of it. He sat down at the well specifically at your hour, specifically because he knows you fully, and that full knowing is not a threat but a love. The love of the one who sees everything and chooses to stay, who understands everything and chooses not to leave, who knows the whole history and still says, if you knew who it was who was speaking to you, you would have asked, and he would have given you living water. Asked, my precious child, ask tonight. You do not have to clean yourself up before you asked. You do not have to arrive at the well at the correct hour, with the correct history, with the correct number of husbands, or the correct record of choices. She arrived at the noon hour with exactly the record she had, and he was already sitting there waiting. He did not need a cleaner version of her to have the conversation. He needed her, the actual her, the noon hour her, the real her, because the conversation he had prepared was for that specific woman, not for an idealized version of her that did not exist and had never walked to that well. He is at your well tonight, the actual well you actually came to, and the conversation he has prepared is for you. The actual you, the late night you, the searching you, the 5 husbands you, whatever the specifics of your specific history actually are. He sat down at exactly your hour. He is already there, ahead of you, because he had to come here, because the necessity of finding you was stronger than the convention of the route everyone else takes. And I want to stay a moment with the living water he offered her. The living water is not a metaphor for feeling better. It is a metaphor for an internal source. A spring inside the person who receives it, welling up continuously, not dependent on the external trip to the external well for the external drawing that must be repeated daily. Once received, the spring is internal, the source moves inside, and the person who carries an internal spring becomes, themselves, a source for others, the way the woman became a source for her entire town. She went from drawing from the well to being someone others could draw from. The living water turned a consumer into a conduit. My dear one, the word you are receiving tonight is living water. It is not a message to be consumed and exhausted and return for more of the same tomorrow. It is seed for an internal spring. What you receive tonight will continue welling up in you long after tonight. In the conversations you have, in the choices you make, in the way you understand the things that happen to you in the weeks ahead. The spring is starting tonight, and it will not run dry. The well that Jacob dug is the well that Jesus sat at to meet the woman. The history and the present met at Jacob's well. The ancient provision, the well that had been there for generations, became the location of the appointment that changed the woman's entire future and the future of her town. The old well carried new water. The familiar location held the unprecedented encounter. And what was received at the old well was something so new that the woman could not even contain it in the familiar container she had brought. The jar, the ordinary container for the ordinary water from the ordinary well, was left behind, because what she received required no container. It was a spring, internal, going with her, not poured into the jar. My precious child, God meets his people at named wells, at named roads, at named pools, at named trees, at the specific locations of the ordinary life where the appointed word arrives. And tonight is a named well in your life. The specific place in your specific history where the appointment was kept. This hour, this video, this word, the appointment that found you here, at your well, at your hour, with your history, with your particular version of the 5 husbands wait. This is a named encounter, and it will be the well you come back to in your memory, in the days when the spring feels less immediate, the well where the encounter happened, the evidence that you were found. The woman left her water jar. She had come for water, and she left without it because she had received something so much greater than water that the jar seemed suddenly beside the point. She left the container she had brought for the thing she thought she needed and ran toward the people she had been avoiding because the thing she had actually received was too good to carry alone. That is the movement of the divine appointment. You arrive for one thing. You receive something so much more than that thing that the original thing becomes irrelevant by comparison. You came tonight because you were sent. You will leave tonight having received something you did not come knowing you needed. And when you wake up tomorrow, some part of you will want to run toward the thing you have been avoiding. The conversation, the person, the community, the town you have been approaching only at the noon hour. Because what you received tonight is too good to carry alone. My dear one, the hiding hour that brought you to this message tonight is the specific hour that will transform what the morning reveals you to be. The word found you in the hiding, and it is not going to leave you as it found you. I want to take you now to the house of a Roman soldier, and to a rooftop in Joppa where a man fell into a trance, and to the most precisely orchestrated double appointment in the history of the early church. His name was Cornelius. He was a centurion, a commander of 100 soldiers, stationed in Caesarea. He was not Jewish, but the word says he was a devout man who feared God, who gave generously to those in need, and who prayed to God regularly. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he had a vision. An angel of God appeared and called his name. The angel said, "Your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. Now send men to Joppa and bring back a man named Simon who is called Peter. He is staying with Simon the tanner, whose house is by the sea." A specific name, a specific city, a specific host, a specific physical address, by the sea. The instructions were precise enough to find one man in an entire city. And Cornelius, without hesitation, called 2 of his servants and a devout soldier and sent them to Joppa to find the specific man at the specific address. Meanwhile, in Joppa, at noon the next day, as the men sent by Cornelius were approaching the city, Peter went up on the roof of the house to pray, and he fell into a trance and received a vision that he did not understand, a vision about food considered unclean being declared clean by God, a vision that was preparing him for something he did not yet know was coming. He was puzzling over the vision when the Spirit said to him, "Simon, 3 men are looking for you. Get up and go downstairs. Do not hesitate to go with them, for I have sent them." Peter went downstairs. The men were at the door. My precious child, I want you to feel the architecture of this appointment. At 3 in the afternoon, Cornelius received specific instructions to send for Peter at a specific address. At noon the next day, as the men were approaching the city, Peter received a vision that was preparing him for what the men were bringing. The Spirit told Peter to expect the men before they arrived. The preparation happened simultaneously on both sides. The sender was prepared to send, and the receiver was prepared to receive, before either of them knew what the other was doing. This is the divine appointment, not just the arranging of a meeting, the preparing of both parties for the meeting before either of them understands what they are being prepared for. Cornelius was being prepared to receive Peter's message by everything he had already been doing, the prayers, the giving, the 3 o'clock devotion. Peter was being prepared to go to a Gentile's house by a vision on a rooftop. Both preparations were happening simultaneously, orchestrated by the same hand, without either man knowing what the other was experiencing. My beloved, there has been preparation on both sides of this appointment. You have been prepared by the season you have been in, by the questions you have been carrying, by the hunger that has been building, by the late nights and the searching and the reaching towards something you could not name but knew you needed. And on the other side of this appointment, this word has been prepared, specific to the specific preparation that happened in you. The 2 preparations were arranged to meet tonight. The messenger was sent to the address where you would be, and the address you are at tonight is exactly where you needed to be to receive what was prepared for you. Do not hesitate to go with them, the Spirit said to Peter, for I have sent them. Do not hesitate tonight, the ones who were sent for you have arrived, and the one who sent them is the one who prepared you to receive them. My precious child, I want to say something about the nature of the preparation that happened before Cornelius even knew he needed to send for Peter. The word says that Cornelius' prayers and gifts to the poor had come up as a memorial offering before God, not as a request that was still waiting to be processed, as a memorial, a completed, registered, received offering. The giving and the praying of Cornelius had already arrived. They were already in the presence of God, already known, already accounted for, already the basis for the angel's appearance and the instructions that followed. Your prayers have arrived, the ones you prayed in the quiet, the ones you prayed when you did not know if anyone was listening, the ones you prayed in the middle of the night, in the middle of the doubt, in the middle of the season that made you wonder if the words were reaching anyone at all. They arrived. They did not dissolve into the air. They did not fall back down on you unheard. They went up. They registered. They became a memorial, a thing that was noted and remembered and is now the basis for the arrangement that was set in motion in response to them. God heard your prayers before you knew he had heard them. The angel appeared to Cornelius because the prayers had already been received and the arrangement had already been set in motion. Not because Cornelius was praying at the moment the angel appeared, but because his prayers had arrived before the appearance and were already in motion before he saw the first sign of a response. The response was already underway. The men were already being prepared to be sent. Peter was already being prepared to go. The arrangement was already in progress before Cornelius saw the first evidence of it. My beloved, the arrangement is already in progress. The response to what you have been praying is already in motion. You are not still waiting for God to notice. He noticed. You are not still waiting for God to act. He is acting. The evidence you are waiting for is on its way, the same way the men from Cornelius were on their way before Peter heard the knock. The simultaneous preparation was already complete before either Cornelius or Peter saw the meeting happen. The meeting was already certain before it occurred, because the one arranging it had already begun both preparations simultaneously. And I want you to feel the comfort of that. The deep, releasing comfort of the already, not the I hope eventually of the one still waiting for acknowledgement. The it is already in motion of the one who knows that the preparation on both sides is real and is happening and does not require my management or my additional effort or my figuring out the logistics of how this is going to work. The Spirit told Peter to go downstairs before he understood why he was going downstairs. The arrival of the men was the explanation. And sometimes the explanation of the arrangement comes in the very moment the arrangement is visibly fulfilled, not before. You will see it happening as it happens. The door will open at the moment of the knock, and the knock is already on its way. Do not hesitate to go with them, the Spirit said to Peter, for I have sent them. Do not hesitate tonight. The ones who were sent for you have arrived, and the one who sent them is the one who prepared you to receive them. If you are still here, type Amen. Because staying is the response to the divine appointment. The Ethiopian stayed in the chariot to hear the explanation. The woman stayed at the well for the living water. Peter went downstairs to meet the men at the door. And you are staying, right now, for what this word is bringing. My dear one, I want to say something about what it means that the appointment in the Cornelius/Peter story happened across a boundary. Cornelius was not Jewish. Peter was. And in the world of that time, the boundary between them was not just cultural, it was religious, it was identity. It was the deep conviction of a whole tradition that said, these people are separate from us, and the separation is right and holy and required. And the divine appointment dissolved the boundary, not by pretending it didn't exist, not by ignoring the history, but by the vision that came first, the vision on the rooftop that said, do not call anything impure that God has made clean. The preparation for the appointment included the removal of the internal barrier that would have prevented Peter from crossing the external barrier. You had to work on what Peter believed before you could work on who Peter went to. Because if Peter had gone to Cornelius' house, still believing what he believed before the vision on the rooftop, he would have gone as someone crossing a boundary they still thought was wrong. Instead, he went as someone whose understanding had been changed enough to let the appointment be what it needed to be. My precious child, tonight I may be coming to you across a boundary of expectation. This is not what you expected to find at this hour. A boundary of history. You may have heard things that made you uncertain whether the divine appointment would find someone like you. A boundary of what you have known the word to be, or not be, for you specifically. And the preparation that happened in you, the questions, the hunger, the late nights, the reaching, was the vision on the rooftop that prepared you for what was going to come to your door. The Spirit was already working on your understanding before the men from Cornelius arrived. Before this word appeared in your feed, before you paused. The preparation happened first, so that when the appointment kept itself, you would be ready to go downstairs and open the door. Do not hesitate to go with them, the Spirit said. The word has arrived. Go downstairs, open the door. Receive what was sent. I want to take you now to a pool in Jerusalem called Bethesda, which means House of Mercy, where there were a great number of disabled people, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. Bethesda, House of Mercy. The name is important. This was a place specifically named for the thing that was supposed to happen there. Mercy. A place where the mercy of healing was supposed to reach the ones who needed it most. The pool that stirred and healed. That was mercy. Visible and specific and available. And yet the man had been there for 38 years and had not received the mercy that the place was named for. the house of mercy, visited regularly for 38 years, and the mercy of the pool had never reached him. My precious child, I want you to sit with that for a moment. Because some of you know what it is to be in the house of mercy and still not receive the mercy. To be in the right place, doing the right things, going to the well, going to the pool, being present in the location where the mercy is supposed to flow, and to watch others receive it while you remain as you were. 38 years of being in the right place at the right time, and the specific mercy you needed had not reached you yet. And then Jesus came, not because the pool failed, not to replace the pool with something better. Jesus came because the man had been in the house of mercy for 38 years, and the specific mercy he needed required the specific presence of the one who could command it to happen independently of the stirring of the water. The pool's mercy was real, but it had mechanisms. You had to get in first when the water stirred, and the man had no one to help him get in first. So the pool's mercy was available to him in principle and inaccessible to him in practice. Jesus is not bound by the mechanisms. He did not say, "I will arrange for someone to help you into the pool the next time the water stirs." He said, "Get up." The mercy arrived outside the mechanism. The healing came through a completely different channel than the one the man had been depending on for 38 years. My beloved, the mercy you have been waiting for may arrive through a completely different channel than the one you have been positioning yourself for. You have been at the pool, in the right location, in the right posture, ready to receive the way you understood the receiving to work. And it may be that the mercy is going to arrive independently of the mechanism you have been waiting for. Not because the mechanism is wrong. It is not wrong. The pool was a real place of real healing for many real people. But because for you specifically, in this specific situation, the mercy is going to arrive the way it arrived for the 38-year man, outside the mechanism, through the direct word of the one who does not need the water to stir. Watch for the mercy that comes sideways. The thing you did not expect, from the direction you were not watching, in the form you were not waiting for. It may be the word you receive in a video at a late hour, rather than the healing you expected at the pool. It may be the provision that comes through a person you didn't know would be involved, rather than through the channel you had been depending on. The mercy is real. The appointment to deliver it was kept tonight, and the form the mercy takes may be the most surprising part. Jesus came to Jerusalem for a feast. He went to the pool, and there was a man there who had been an invalid for 38 years. The word says specifically, when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" When Jesus saw him, "My precious child," I want you to sit in that phrase. There were many disabled people at the pool. The pool of Bethesda was the gathering place of the long-term sick, the ones who came day after day, week after week, waiting for the stirring of the water, waiting for their moment to get in first and be healed. There were crowds of them. And Jesus came to the pool and walked through the crowd, and his eye went to this man, this specific man, the one who had been there 38 years, not the most recently arrived, not the one whose condition was most obviously dramatic, the one who had been there the longest, the one whose situation had accumulated the most time and the most years and the most days of watching other people be healed while he remained as he was. The one who had been waiting longest was the one Jesus specifically saw. The man's answer to "Do you want to get well?" reveals the specific texture of the 38-year condition. He said, "Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes ahead of me." He was not complaining about the healing. He was explaining the mechanism that had been failing him. The system required someone to help him in at the right moment, and he had no one. And so every time the moment came, someone faster or more connected got there before him. 38 years of being one step behind the moment. Jesus said, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. My dear one, the 38 years did not make Jesus pass him by. The 38 years were the specific reason Jesus stopped at that specific man in the crowd of sick people. The length of the waiting was the specific quality that caught the eye of the one who had come specifically to see him, not to see the recently arrived, to see the one who had been there so long that the system had stopped feeling like a system in which he could participate. The man at the pool had no one, no helper, no advocate, no one in his corner to get him to the right place at the right moment. 38 years of no one. And then Jesus walked into the crowd, and the man who had no one became the man that the Son of God specifically walked to through a crowd of people with the same need. Because the no-oneness was visible to the one who sees what the crowd cannot see. Because the 38 years had built an account that was due for a response. Because the wait was the preparation for the specific encounter that the pool's ordinary system could never have produced. I want to take a moment to sit with the 38 years, because the number matters, it is specific. Not a long time, not many years, not longer than most. 38 years. The word gives us the number, because the specificity is important. This was a man whose condition was old enough to be a fact of his life, rather than a crisis in his life. When something has been true for 38 years, it stops being an emergency and starts being the landscape. The landscape of his days was this pool, this mat, this waiting for the stirring of the water, this watching other people get there before him. 38 years of landscape. And Jesus asked him, "Do you want to get well?" My precious child, the question might seem unnecessary. Why would anyone lying beside a healing pool for 38 years not want to get well? But the question is profoundly important. Because when something has been your landscape for long enough, the imagining of a different landscape becomes threatening rather than inviting. The familiar difficulty is at least known, it is at least predictable. The unknown life on the other side of healing, the life where you have to go to work, where you have to bear responsibility, where you have to face the world without the defined identity of the person who has been waiting beside the pool. That life is unknown, and unknown is sometimes more frightening than familiar suffering. "Do you want to get well?" The man answered by explaining the mechanism that had been failing him. He did not say yes. He did not say no. He explained the system. He described why the system had not worked for him. No one to help him into the water, someone always faster. He explained the conditions under which he had been operating. He explained why the healing had not come. He did not say, "I want to get well and I believe you can make it happen." He explained the mechanism. And Jesus did not ask him a second time. He did not require a cleaner answer, a more faithful response, a less complicated explanation. He said, "Get up, pick up your mat, walk." The healing came in response to the broken, complicated mechanism-explaining answer of a man who had been at the pool for 38 years. Not the triumphant answer of the man who had just arrived and still had the fire of new hope. The answer of the long waiting, the answer that describes the system instead of saying yes. The answer that comes from inside 38 years of landscape. That is the answer Jesus responded to with healing. My beloved, if your answer to "Do you want to get well tonight?" is a description of the mechanism that has been failing you, if it comes out as an explanation of why things have not worked, of who has gotten there before you, of what would be required for the thing to happen that has not happened, that answer is received. That is the answer he healed 38 years of waiting with. The explanation is enough. The staying beside the pool is enough. The being here with no one is enough. Get up. This word is saying it to you tonight, not as motivation, not as a challenge, as a command from the same source that commanded the man at Bethesda. The thing that has been your landscape. Get up from it. The mat, the thing you have been lying on so long it has taken the shape of your body. Pick it up and walk. My precious child, if you have been waiting a long time, if the season of the waiting has been long enough that the system that is supposed to work for other people has seemed consistently to work for everyone except you, the length of the wait is not evidence that you have been passed over. It is the specific quality that makes you the one Jesus sees when he walks into the crowd. He did not go to Bethesda to heal the ones who had just arrived and could still imagine the system working for them. He went for the one who had been there 38 years and had no one. He went for the one the system had not reached. He went for the one the crowd was moving past. He saw him. He stopped. He asked the question that changed everything. Tonight you were seen. This message did not reach everyone. It reached you, the one who has been waiting, the one who has sometimes wondered if the system was ever going to work for you, the one who has watched others receive what you needed while you remained as you were. He came through the crowd to get to you. Get up, pick up your mat and walk. My beloved, I want to notice something about the conversation between Jesus and the healed man later in the same chapter. After the healing, after the man had picked up his mat and walked, Jesus found him again in the temple, and Jesus said to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." I want you to feel what that second encounter means. It was not enough for Jesus to heal him and move on. Jesus found him again, on purpose. In the temple, the specific place where a healed man would go to give thanks to God, the specific place where the encounter could be completed by the warning as well as the healing. Jesus' engagement with the man did not end when the man picked up his mat. It continued. The divine appointment that began with the seeing in the crowd continued with the finding in the temple. The one who found you tonight in the crowd of all the things you could have been watching will find you again, not to check up on you, not to audit the healing, to continue the conversation, to bring the next part of what you need at the next moment when you are ready for it. The appointment that keeps itself is not a one-time event. It is the beginning of a continuing practice of the finding, the regular, specific, personal, you in particular practice of a God who does not just heal and leave, but heals and follows, heals and finds again in the temple, heals and continues the relationship. You are seen, not once, tonight, continually. The same eye that saw you in the crowd tonight sees you in the temple tomorrow, and in the house after that, and in the ordinary of the day after the ordinary of the day. The seeing does not stop when the appointment completes. The appointment completing is the beginning of the seeing. The fifth story takes place in a wilderness, after everything had seemed to go wrong, at the moment when hope had run out. Her name was Hagar. She had been the servant of Sarah, the wife of Abraham. And after years of complexity in the household, after the birth of Ishmael, after the birth of Isaac, after the conflict that came when 2 mothers and 2 sons were living in the same home, Abraham sent Hagar away with her son Ishmael. He gave her some food and a skin of water and sent her into the desert of Beersheba, and the water ran out. When the water was gone, she put her child under one of the bushes, and she went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about a bowshot away, for she said, "I cannot watch the boy die." And as she sat there, she began to sob. This is the lowest moment. The water is gone, the food is gone, the child is under a bush dying. She has moved herself as far away as she can bear to be, while still not being completely separated from him, because she cannot watch him die, but she cannot leave him either. She sat down, she sobbed. She had no more resources, no more plans, no more direction. She was done. God heard the boy crying, "My precious child," in the midst of everything, the empty water skin, the child under the bush, the mother sobbing at a bowshot's distance, the wilderness with no visible water source. God heard, not the prayers of the powerful, not the petition of the connected, the crying of a child in the wilderness, in the moment his mother could not watch. But I want to go back even further in Hagar's story, because what happened in the wilderness with Ishmael was not the first time God had found Hagar in a desperate place. There was another time, earlier, when she was still in Abraham and Sarah's household, before Ishmael was born, when Sarah had treated her harshly, and Hagar had fled into the wilderness alone. And the angel of the Lord found her by a spring in the desert. And the angel asked, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" And the angel gave her specific instructions and a specific promise about the son she was carrying. And Hagar gave God a name. She called him El Roi, the God who sees me, because she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me," and she was filled with awe. In the middle of the desert, alone, having fled in the night, she was found, and she named the one who found her, and the name she gave him was the God who sees, El Roi, the God who sees. The God who sees specifically you, in the desert, in the fleeing, in the alone, in the carrying of the thing you do not yet understand the full significance of. The God who sees you at the first well in the desert when you are running, and who sees you again at the second well in the desert when the water has run out and the crying has replaced the running. Twice the desert, twice the finding, twice the angel, twice the specific word for the specific moment. Same Hagar, same God, the one who sees. El Roi sees you. Tonight, in the specific place of your specific watching, in the desert of whatever season has brought you to this video at this hour, El Roi sees. The name Hagar gave him is the name that is true over your life right now. The God who sees me. Not the God who has a general awareness of my existence. The God who specifically, personally, by name sees me. In the desert, in the alone, in the crying, in the moment when the water has run out, and the one who sees sends. The same God who saw Hagar in the desert the first time sent the angel to find her. And the same God who saw Hagar in the wilderness with Ishmael sent the angel to call her name. And the same God who has been seeing you through everything that has led to this moment sent this word to find you at this hour. El Roi sent this. The one who sees sent what he saw was needed, and the proof that you were seen is that you received what was sent. I want to sit with this for a moment. The crying of a child, not the eloquent petition of the adult, not the carefully worded prayer of the one who knows how to speak to God. The crying of a child who does not know what to ask for, who does not know where the help would come from if it came, who is simply dying of thirst in a desert and crying because that is what is left when everything else is gone. And God heard it. There is a quality of sound that cannot be ignored by the one who created the ones who make it. The crying of the deeply needy, the crying that comes from the bottom of the situation, from the place where the strategies have all been exhausted and the resources are all gone, and what remains is only the raw need itself. That crying reaches the ears of the one who is listening for it differently than other sounds reach other ears, because it is the sound of the creature in absolute need of the Creator, and the Creator hears the creature's need the way a parent hears a child's cry in the night, with a response that bypasses the calculation of timing and convenience and goes directly to the going. God heard it, and the angel was dispatched, not the next morning, not after the proper channels had been navigated. The hearing and the dispatching are presented as immediate and consecutive. Heard, called out, the word was spoken, the eyes were opened. The response to the crying in the wilderness is not slow. It is the immediate turning of the face of the one who heard toward the source of the sound. Your crying has been heard in that way, not the polished prayer, though that has been heard too, the crying underneath the prayer. The crying that comes in the middle of the night when the prayer words have run out. The crying that is just the sound of the need itself, undressed of language, undressed of explanation, just the raw, inarticulate sound of the person who needs what they do not have and knows they cannot get it themselves. That crying has been heard. That is the crying that dispatched the response. And the response, the specific, personal, angel-sent response, is what found you tonight at the specific hour when the crying had gone up far enough to be received. And the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. He said, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She saw a well of water. My precious child, I want you to feel what she saw means after everything that came before it, after the empty water skin, after the child placed under the bush, after the walking away to the bowshot distance, after the sobbing, after the absolute end of what could be done by the person in the condition she was in. After all of that, she saw, and what she saw was not a vision, not a promise of future provision, not a hope of what might be possible eventually, a well, right there, in the wilderness, present in the specific landscape she was already in. How long had the well been there? We are not told, but the implication of God opened her eyes is that it was already there before the opening. It was there while the water skin still had water in it. It was there when she started walking into the desert. It was there when the water ran out. It was there when she put Ishmael under the bush. It was there when she walked to the bowshot distance. It was there during the sobbing. The well was in the wilderness with her the whole time, and she did not see it until the eyes were opened. My dear one, this is perhaps the most important thing I want you to receive tonight. The provision is already in your wilderness, not coming, not requiring the situation to change before it can arrive. Already there, already in the landscape of the desert you are walking through. The well is already in the wilderness with you, and the reason you have not yet seen it is not that it is not there, but that the eyes that see it require an opening, a specific moment when the one who placed the well in the wilderness opens the eyes of the one who needs it to be able to see it. And the opening happens at the specific moment of the specific need, not before, because before, the eyes of self-sufficiency are still managing the situation, still relying on the water skin, still making plans that don't include finding a well, because the water skin is not yet empty. The opening of the eyes happens when the water skin is empty, and the child is under the bush, and the sobbing has replaced the strategy, because that is the moment when the eyes can receive the opening. When everything else has been exhausted, the eyes that are opened have nothing to see but what is really there. My beloved, the well was already there. It was not created in that moment. God did not reach down and dig a well in the desert as a special provision. God opened her eyes so that she could see what was already there. The water had been there. She had been in the presence of the provision without being able to see it. And in the moment of the deepest despair, the moment when she had sat down and said, "I cannot watch him die," her eyes were open to what had been there all along. The divine appointment found her at the furthest edge of hope. Not before the water ran out, when the situation was still manageable. Not when she still had options. At the specific moment when there was nothing left. That was the moment the angel called from heaven. The timing of the appointment was the timing of the complete depletion. As if the appointment could only be fully received when everything else had been exhausted. As if the eyes that were opened to see the well could only be opened after the water in the skin had been completely used up. My dear one, I know that some of you tonight came to this message at the moment when the water has run out. Not the moment before it ran out, when you were managing. Not the moment when you still had plans. The moment when you sat down at a bowshot's distance from the thing you love most and said, "I cannot watch this anymore." The moment when the sob took over from the strategy. This word was sent to you at exactly that moment. Not accidentally. Not because an algorithm worked out a particular way. Because God heard the crying. Your crying. The crying of the thing in your life that is lying under the bush. And the angel was dispatched to call your name from heaven. And then to open your eyes to what is already there. The well that you are currently too depleted to see. The provision that has been present in your wilderness all along, waiting for the moment when your eyes would be opened to it. Let me stay with Hagar for a few more moments, because her story is not only about the provision at the end, it is about the texture of the wait before the provision. The word says she put Ishmael under one of the bushes. She moved away from him about a bowshot, and she lifted her voice and wept. And then, before the angel called, before the water appeared, God heard the boy crying, in the middle of the desert, at the moment of the deepest depletion, surrounded by nothing that looked like provision, with the empty water skin behind her, and the dying child ahead of her, and the impossibility of the situation in every direction she could look. God heard, not the prayer, not the petition, not the carefully worded request, the crying that is what is left when the words are all gone. When the explaining is exhausted, when the strategy has been fully consumed, and what remains is only the sound that comes out of a person when they have nothing left but need. God heard that. The angel was dispatched to that. The provision was opened to that. Not to the composed request, not to the articulate petition, but to the raw sound of the depleted person who has put the thing she loves under a bush and moved away because she cannot watch. My precious child, the crying that you have been doing in the wilderness, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the depletion, in the middle of the season where you sat down at a bowshot's distance from the thing you love most because you could not watch it anymore. That crying was heard. God heard it. The angel was dispatched the moment the crying reached the ears of the one who hears everything. And the timing of this word tonight, this specific word, at this specific hour, in the middle of your specific wilderness, is the response to the crying that you have been doing in the place where you thought no one could hear. You were not in the wilderness alone. You were in the wilderness where the well already was, and the well was always there, not created in response to the crisis, but present in the landscape of the wilderness, waiting to be seen, waiting for the moment when the eyes of the one who needed it would be opened to see it. God did not dig the well the moment Hagar cried. He opened her eyes to what was already there in the landscape that had surrounded her the whole time. The provision for your wilderness season is already in the landscape of your wilderness. It is not coming from somewhere else. It is not being specially created in response to your emergency. It is already there. The relationship, the resource, the direction, the open door, the unexpected help. It is already present in the wilderness you are in. What tonight opens is your eyes to see it. Because you were sent to this word at the hour when the crying had been heard, when the angel had been dispatched, when the opening of the eyes was the next thing in the arrangement. Lift the boy up, take him by the hand, the well is there. And you were brought to this message tonight at exactly the right moment. The moment when your eyes are ready to be opened. Not before, now. No, the night is here now. And before I take you into the rest that has been prepared for you, I want to say one more thing about what happened in these 5 stories, what happened in all of them together, as a pattern. And before I tell you what connects all 5 of these stories, the Ethiopian on the desert road, the woman at the noon-hour well, Cornelius and Peter in the double appointment, the 38-year man at the pool, Hagar with her son in the wilderness, I want to tell you what these 5 stories have in common that goes deeper than what connects them on the surface. They were all, in different ways, in a condition of limitation when the appointment happened. The Ethiopian was limited in his understanding. He had the word, but not the key to the word. The woman was limited by her history. She had a complicated record that limited where she could safely appear in public. Cornelius was limited by his background. He was not the right nation, not the right tradition, not the right category of person to receive the kind of word that was coming. The man at the pool was limited by his condition. 38 years had defined the absolute edge of what was possible for him. Hagar was limited by her resources. The water was gone. The child was dying. The situation was beyond what she could manage. And in every single case, the limitation was the specific location where the appointment arrived. Not despite the limitation, but at the limitation. The explanation Philip gave was given specifically to the person who could not understand. The conversation at the well was had specifically with the person whose history was too complicated for the mourning crowd. Peter's visit happened specifically to the household that was the wrong background. Jesus went to the pool specifically for the man whose condition had been long enough to be beyond what the ordinary system could reach. The angel called specifically to the woman who had gone beyond the edge of her own resource. The divine appointment arrives at the limitation, not around it. At it. It does not wait for you to overcome the limitation before it shows up. It shows up at the limitation, because the limitation is exactly the location where the appointment was always going to be kept. In every story, the person who received the divine appointment was not expecting it. The Ethiopian was not expecting Philip to run alongside his chariot. The woman was not expecting anyone to be at the well at noon, let alone someone who would begin a conversation that would rearrange her entire understanding of herself and her God. Cornelius was praying and giving, but he was not expecting an angel at 3 in the afternoon to appear with a specific address and specific instructions. The man at the pool was waiting, but he had developed a very specific understanding of how healing was supposed to happen. Through the pool, when the water stirred, if someone helped him in first, and the healing that came to him came in a way he had completely stopped expecting. Hagar was not expecting a well to appear in the desert. She had put her son under a bush because she had stopped expecting anything. The divine appointment almost never arrives in the form that was expected. It arrives in the form that is needed. And because the form is unexpected, the person receiving it often does not recognize it immediately as the appointment. The Ethiopian might have looked at the man running alongside his chariot and thought, "This is an inconvenience." The woman might have looked at the man sitting at the well and thought, "I came here to avoid encounters." Cornelius might have looked at the vision and thought, "This is strange." The man at the pool might have heard the question, "Do you want to get well?" and thought, "This man does not understand the system." Hagar, at the bowshot's distance, might not have recognized the angel's voice at first as the response she needed, but each of them stayed. Each of them let the unexpected encounter unfold, rather than shutting it down before it could deliver what it was carrying. And in the staying, the appointment completed its delivery. You are here. You stayed. You did not close the video when the first sentence felt too simple or too familiar or not exactly what you thought you needed. You let this word unfold, and in the staying, the delivery happened. Whatever this word was carrying when it was sent to you, the specific thing that was prepared with your specific night in view, it arrived, because you stayed for the appointment that came in the unexpected form of a video on a late night, in the unexpected hour when you almost scrolled past. My precious child, what was sent for you has reached you, and now the rest is not an absence of the appointment. It is the continuation of it, the living inside it, through the hours of the night, the waking up inside the reality of having been found. And I want to say, before the rest, that what happened in all 5 of these stories, the Ethiopian, the woman at the well, Cornelius and Peter, the man at Bethesda, Hagar in the wilderness, each of them carried the appointment forward into the rest of their lives. They did not receive the appointment and then return to the version of themselves that existed before the appointment. The receiving changed what came after. The direction of every subsequent step was different because of the step that met the appointment. The Ethiopian carried the word home to Africa and whatever came from that. The churches, the conversions, the tradition of Ethiopian Christianity that stretches from that desert road to this century was the continuation of the chariot encounter. The woman carried the word back to the town, and the entire town came out to meet the one who had known everything she ever did. Cornelius and Peter carried the encounter into the council in Jerusalem and the expansion of the early church beyond the boundaries of the Jewish world. The man at Bethesda carried his mat out of the pool and into the temple. Hagar carried the water back to Ishmael and carried the promise of the great nation forward through all the generations of the story that followed. You are carrying this word forward, out of this night and into every day that follows it. And the days that follow will be different from the days that preceded this night, in ways that you cannot yet fully see from this side of the sleeping. The appointment has been kept, the word has arrived, and the person who was found on the desert road is now on the road to somewhere, carrying what was received, going on the way rejoicing. The night is here now, and I want to take you slowly into the rest of the one who has received the word that was sent for them. You came to this message at the same moment the Ethiopian came to Isaiah 53, reading without understanding, ready to receive the explanation that was already on its way. You came at the same hour the woman came to the well at noon, the hiding hour, the hour of minimum visibility, the hour that turned out to be the hour of the most important encounter of her life. You came at the same moment as the double appointment of Cornelius and Peter, the preparation that had been happening simultaneously on both sides before either of you knew what was coming. You came with the same 38-year quality that made the man at the pool the specific person Jesus walked to through the crowd. You came at the same moment as Hagar at the bowshot's distance, when the water was gone and the sobbing had begun, and God heard and opened the eyes to the well that was already there. You were sent here. This word was sent to you, and the appointment is now complete. You received what you were sent here to receive, and the one who arranged the appointment is now going to walk you into the rest that follows the receiving. Share this with someone tonight who needs to know that the message that found them was not an accident. Someone who is doubting whether the seeking is reaching anything, whether the hunger is going to be fed, whether the appointment was arranged for someone like them. Send it before you sleep, because the word you just received was not only for you. You are Philip in this story now. The appointment will continue through you. Philip received a word in Samaria and gave it away on the desert road, and then was carried away by the Spirit to the next place where the word needed to go. The giving away of what he received was immediate. He did not hoard the word, did not wait until he had processed it fully before sharing it, did not protect the encounter by keeping it only for himself. He shared it as he received it, on the road, in the moment, with the specific person who was reading the specific passage at the specific hour. And then the Spirit took him to Azotus, and he preached in all the towns until he reached Caesarea. The giving continued, the sharing continued, because that is what the divine appointment produces in the person who receives it, the impulse to share what was given. The woman at the well ran back into the town. Philip went on to the next town and the next. The news of what Cornelius received reached Jerusalem and started a conversation that changed the theological understanding of the entire early church. The man at the pool told the religious leaders who healed him. Hagar brought the water back to her son, and they both continued. What you received tonight is for sharing, not in the sense of obligation, not in the sense of requirement, not in the sense of a task added to your list, but in the natural sense of what happens when something good arrives that is too good to contain. You will find the person, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a conversation you did not know was coming, and you will recognize the moment when what you received is the specific word the other person needs. And when that moment comes, you will have what to give because you received it tonight, on this road, in this chariot, at this hour. You are Philip now. You are on the road, and the ones who need what you received are on the road ahead of you. Come into the breath now, the breath of the person who has received, not the held breath of the person who is still waiting to find out if the appointment is real. The released breath of the person who has been found. In, receiving what was sent. Out, releasing what was held in the not yet knowing. In and out. Receive and release. The appointment was real. The word was sent. You are here. My precious child, I want to say one more thing before I take you all the way into the rest. I want to say it because there will be a moment tomorrow, or the day after, when the clarity of tonight feels less immediate. When the ordinary returns and the questions return with it, and the memory of the appointment begins to feel like something that happened in a different state of mind than the waking, practical, ordinary day state of mind. And when that moment comes, I want you to have something to hold. The appointment was not a feeling. The divine appointment is not something that happened in your nervous system because of the hour, or the tiredness, or the particular receptivity of a late-night quietness. The appointment happened in the same way that Philip happened to the Ethiopian. the same way the sixth-hour encounter happened to the woman at the well, the same way the simultaneous vision happened to Peter on the rooftop at the same moment the men from Cornelius' house were approaching. These are not feelings, these are events. Things that happened in the external world, involving real people, in real locations, at specific times. They happened. The Ethiopian went back to Ethiopia carrying what Philip explained to him. The woman ran back into the town carrying what the conversation at the well had given her. Cornelius' household received the Holy Spirit. The man at the pool picked up his mat and walked. Hagar found the well. The appointment tonight happened. The word that was prepared for your specific night reached your specific eyes at your specific hour. That is not a feeling. That is an event in the external world. The event of a word being sent to an address and arriving at the address it was sent to. And the evidence of the appointment is not only the feeling of having received, though the feeling is also real. It is the fact that you are here. The word arrived and you received it. When the ordinary returns, hold to the fact, not the feeling only, but the fact. You were sent here. The word arrived. You stayed for it. That happened. And what happened cannot unhappen. The same way the Ethiopian's desert encounter cannot unhappen. The same way the woman's noon-hour conversation at the well cannot unhappen. The appointment is complete. And the completed appointment is a permanent part of your history now. The history of a person who is found by the one who arranges the finding. Let the body settle now into the received position. Every part of it receiving the rest that comes after the appointment is complete. The feet that carried you through the day, received. The hands that reached and worked and did the faithful labor of this season, received. The chest that has been carrying the weight of the between time, received. The shoulders that have been braced for whatever came next, received. Every part of the body that was on the way to the appointment is now at rest in the appointed place. And I want to speak specifically to the mind that is still running, because it often keeps running even after the body settles. The mind that is still processing, still connecting, still reaching for the insight that will resolve the remaining questions. Let the mind receive the permission to rest, not the permission to stop thinking forever, or to pretend that the questions are all answered, or to be at peace about things that are genuinely unresolved. The permission to rest for this night, to stop the processing for these hours, to let the conversation that started tonight continue in the sleeping, in the way that the mind makes connections and finds understanding in the sleeping that the waking cannot quite get to on its own. There are things the sleeping mind knows that the waking mind cannot access. This is not mystical, it is simply the way the mind works. The integration happens in the sleep, the pieces come together in the dark. The thing you have been trying to understand consciously is often the thing that becomes clear in the morning, after the sleeping mind has done what it does with what was given to it before the sleep. And what was given to it tonight was significant. The 5 stories, the 5 divine appointments, the specific quality of being found, the opened eyes, the well in the wilderness, the mat in the walking hands. Let the sleeping mind take all of that and do what it does with it. Let it integrate, connect, place in order, find the pattern, see the application, understand the thing the waking mind was getting close to but not quite arriving at, and then trust that the morning will carry what the sleeping worked on. You will wake up knowing things you did not consciously know when you closed your eyes. That is the gift of the sleeping mind operating on what the waking mind received. The appointment was for both the waking hour and the sleeping hour that follows. What was sent for both. Now let the breath be the primary thing. Just the breath. Everything else can fall away for these hours. The plans, the assessments, the questions, the inventory. Just the breath. Coming in and going out with the same faithful consistency it has always had. The breath that has been the company of every night of your life. The breath that has been there in the middle of the nights when you were most afraid. The breath that has never failed to arrive, that has never waited for you to deserve it before it came, that has been there regardless of the state of everything else. The breath tonight is the breath of the received. It carries something new. Every breath from this moment forward carries the received word inside it, distributed through the body, through the blood, through every cell of the person who received the appointment and is now resting inside the received. The appointment does not sit in one place inside you. It spreads, the way breath spreads, the way blood carries what it carries to every corner of the body that needs what it is carrying. The word that was sent to you tonight is spreading now, through the breath, through the sleeping, and you will wake up full of what it brought. Breathe into the lower back, the place that has been holding the tension of the person who is still on the way, the travel tension, the have I arrived yet tension. Breathe in, and on the exhale, let the lower back release. You have arrived. There is no more traveling for tonight. The destination you were being sent toward was this word, this rest, this specific appointment in the quiet of this night, and you are here. Let the breath continue on its own now. Your breath has its own wisdom. It knows what the body needs without your telling it. Let it breathe without your management. In, naturally, at the rate the body wants. Out, naturally, releasing what was held at the rate the body releases. The breath is the one constant, the thing that has been faithful through every season of your life, through every night of your life, through the nights of the wilderness, and the nights of the watching, and the nights of the waiting, and this night, the night of the received appointment. The breath has been there for all of it. Let it be there now, faithful and automatic, and needing nothing from you but the permission to continue. The mind, if it wants to go somewhere, can go here, to the 5 faces. The Ethiopian in the chariot, face turned up from the scroll, water visible beside the road, the decision to ask for baptism forming in his expression. The woman at the well, the water jar forgotten on the ground, something dawning in her face. I have seen the one who sees me. Come and see. Her face already turned back toward the town. Cornelius downstairs, the door opening, Peter's face in the doorway, both of them receiving simultaneously what had been prepared on both sides of the meeting. The man at Bethesda, mat in his hands, standing, the 38-year posture of the lying down already gone from his body, upright, walking, the face of the one who has been told to walk and walked. Hagar, the water jar filled from the well that was always there, turning back toward her son with her eyes wet and the provision in her hands. 5 faces, 5 receptions, 5 moments when the appointment was kept and the face of the recipient changed from the face of the before to the face of the after. And your face, tonight, the face of the one who received this word, who stayed for the appointment, who is now in the rest of the received. Let that face be what you fall asleep with, not the face of the still searching, not the face of the defended, not the face of the managing, the face of the received, soft, open, received. Let the mind slow its inventory, the thoughts that are still cataloging the day, what happened, what needs to happen tomorrow, what was said and what was not said. Let all of that recede now. Let it move to the background. Because the most important thing that happened today was this. You were sent to a specific word at a specific moment. That is the thing worth receiving, not the inventory of the rest of the day, the appointment. Feel the chest open, the ribs wide, the heart beating its faithful, undemonstrative beat in the center of the chest that is now receiving the rest that was always the endpoint of the journey. Let me speak to the arms now, the arms that have been reaching, the arms of the person who has been stretching towards something that has felt just out of reach, extending into the space between where things are and where you need them to be. Let the arms rest now, not the permanent rest of giving up, the rest of the person who has been reaching and has now received. The arms can be at their sides, open-palmed, the posture not of reaching, but of having received and being ready to hold what was given. Open palms, soft arms, the arms of the received, not the arms of the still reaching. The hands. Let the hands open. Let the fingers uncurl from whatever they have been holding. The tension, the vigilance, the grip on the plan, the grip on the outcome, the grip on the image of how things are supposed to go. Open the hands that gave their gifts, that did their work, that reached and wrote and built and held. Let them be open now, because the appointment that was kept tonight is not something you held with your grip. It arrived when you released. It reached you at the moment you paused, when you momentarily let go of the movement towards something else. The appointment entered in the opening, not in the grip. Let the legs be heavy, the legs that have been carrying you, the legs that have been walking the roads of this season, going to the well, approaching the pool, making the journey from the wilderness to the bush and back. Let them be heavy now, completely released. The weight of them pressing down into the surface that is holding them, and the surface holding them completely without any effort required from the legs themselves. The feet of the person who has been walking toward what comes next. They can rest, they can be still. They can be the feet that are not yet on the road tomorrow. That road is for tomorrow, and the feet will be ready for it then. Tonight the feet are still. Tonight the feet are the feet of the Ethiopian at rest in the chariot after the baptism, riding toward home in the joy of the received appointment, going on his way rejoicing. The motion is still there, the journey continues, but the feet are not straining. The feet are at rest in the moving forward of someone who has received and is now on their way. Feel the whole body now as one received thing, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, one body that was sent to this appointment and arrived and received. Every part of it included in the receiving, every part of it now at rest in the having received. The appointment touched the whole person. The rest is for the whole person, and the sleep that is coming will restore the whole person, body and mind and spirit together, the way only deep, received, appointment complete sleep can restore. You do not have to do anything in this sleep. You do not have to process, or sort, or figure out. The sleep will do what sleep does, the things that can only happen in the quiet, the things the waking cannot do, the things the body and mind accomplish in the dark, when the vigilance is off, and the space is open, and the depth is available. Let it all happen without your management. Let the sleep be the sleep of the trusted, the sleep of the kept, the sleep of the one whose appointment was real, and whose presence in this room right now is the presence of the one who keeps what was sent. The Ethiopian received his word on the road, and then went on his way rejoicing. The woman at the well received her word, and then ran back into the town that had been her place of shame, and became its first witness. Cornelius received Peter's message, and was filled with the Holy Spirit. The man at Bethesda picked up his mat and walked. Hagar lifted her boy and took him by the hand. And you, tonight, received this word, and now you rest in the completing of the appointment. The one who arranged this appointment is present in this room right now. The same one who told Philip to go to the desert road is present in this room. The same one who had to go through Samaria is present in this room. The same one whose spirit told Peter to go downstairs is present in this room. The same one who walked through the crowd at Bethesda to get to the 38-year man is present in this room. The same one who heard the crying in the wilderness and opened the eyes of the one who had given up is present in this room, and his presence is the specific evidence that the appointment was real. He arranges the meeting and then stays for it. He sent you here, and he is here with what was sent. His presence is not confined to the waking hour. The same presence that arranged the appointment is present in the sleeping. It is the presence of the one who watches over the sleep of his own. The ancient promise that he who keeps Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. While you rest, the keeping is fully active. While you are unconscious, the one who does not lose consciousness is completely attentive to the person who is sleeping. The sleep is not a gap in the care. It is the hours of care that do not require your participation, the keeping that happens without your management, the protection that is in place because the one who protects does not sleep. You are about to sleep inside the unwavering keeping of El Roi, the one who sees, who saw Hagar in the first desert and the second desert, who sees you now, whose seeing does not diminish when your eyes close, who will see you through every hour of this night and will see you when your eyes open again in the morning. And in the morning the first thing his eyes will see is the face of the one who was found, the face of the received, the face of the person who received the word that was sent for them on this specific night. Let that presence be what you fall asleep inside of tonight, not a concept, a presence. The actual, personal, named, here in this room presence of the one who sent this word and arranged the meeting and stayed for the receiving and is now watching over the sleep of the person who received. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. This blessing was spoken over the people of God at the close of the gathering, the specific send-off into the world and into the night. Bless you, keep you, shine on you, be gracious to you, turn toward you, give you peace. Every element of this blessing is being released over you now, at the close of this appointment, at the beginning of this rest. Let me speak to each part of this blessing slowly, because it deserves to be received slowly, each element placed carefully in the specific place it was designed to reach. Bless you, not generally, specifically, the blessing that is specific to the specific situation of the specific person who received this word tonight. What you are carrying, what you are building, what you are hoping for, what you are waiting for, what you are afraid of losing, what you have already lost and are grieving, all of it is inside the scope of the specific blessing being released over you right now. The blessing is not a general well-wishing. It is the specific favor of the specific God who knows every specific thing about you. released over every specific thing. Keep you, through the night, through the hours of the sleeping, through the hours when you are not conscious, not guarding, not managing. The keeping that happens when you are not managing it, the keeping of the one whose eye does not close, whose watching does not waver, whose keeping does not require your wakefulness to maintain it. You can sleep because you are kept. You can let the consciousness go, because the keeping does not require the conscious. Rest inside the kept. Make his face shine on you. The face that is turned toward you, the face of favor, the face of blessing, the face of the one who is glad you exist, who is pleased to look at you, who turns his face in your direction with the specific expression of delight that a parent has when they look at the child they love. Let that face be what you fall asleep toward, not the face of judgment, not the face of disappointment, the face that shines, the face that turns toward you, the face of the one who rerouted through Samaria to find you at the 6th hour, who sat down at your well before you arrived, who was already there when you showed up. Be gracious to you. The grace that covers what the blessing needs to cover, that reaches what the blessing needs to reach, that fills what the blessing needs to fill. Grace for the gaps, the places in you where what should be is not yet, where the healing is still in progress, where the becoming is still underway. Grace for the history that the blessing is speaking over, the history that includes the things you would not include in a favorable account of yourself. Grace for those things, grace that is greater than the accounting, grace that doesn't require the record to be clean before it can be released. Grace over everything, now. Turn his face toward you, the active turning, not a static facing, but the movement of a face in your direction, the choosing of the direction, the decision to face this way, toward this person, in this moment. The face turns toward you, it is turned, it is aimed. You are in the direct line of the facing of the one whose face being turned toward you changes the entire quality of what the night holds, and give you peace. The peace that passes understanding, the peace that does not depend on the resolution of the things that are not yet resolved, that does not require the answer to every question before it can settle, that does not need the situation to be clean before it comes in. The peace that is given, not earned, not constructed, given, placed in you the way the well was placed in the wilderness, already there, present in the landscape, waiting for the eyes to be open to see it. Receive this peace now, all of it. Every element of this blessing received into every corner of the person you are. The you that is tired, the you that is still waiting, the you that has been carrying, the you that came to this message at the noon hour, alone, hoping something would be here. Something was here. The blessing is here. Receive it all. My precious child, I want to speak some things over the night ahead of you, over every hour of the sleeping that is coming. I speak over you the peace of the Ethiopian who received the word he was reading and went on his way rejoicing. The joy that follows the explanation, the moment when the thing you have been carrying without fully understanding becomes clear. That clarity is coming in the sleeping. The morning will find you understanding things you did not understand when you arrived here tonight. The appointment was not only for the receiving of this word, it was for the unlocking that the word does in you while you sleep. I speak over you the boldness of the woman who left her water jar and ran back into the town. The thing you have been carrying as shame, the noon hour, the hiding, the 5 husbands, the complicated history, will be the specific testimony that turns the town. What you have been avoiding will become what you are sent to. And the sleep tonight is the preparation for the sending tomorrow. I speak over you the specific quality of the woman's testimony. She did not say, I have been told something by someone I don't know very well, and perhaps you should look into it. She said, come, see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah? The testimony was personal. It was specific. It was the testimony of the fully known, the person who had been seen all the way down, to the parts they didn't show anyone, and who came back from the seeing not smaller but larger. The seeing that goes all the way down does not diminish the person who is seen, it enlarges them. Because the full seeing that is also a full staying reveals that you are worth staying for, that the whole of you is worth the attention and the conversation and the specific, personal, name-calling knowing of the one who sat at the well at your noon hour. She left the water jar because she had received something worth more than water. You are leaving this night with something worth more than what you came in with. And the testimony of the person who has received what is worth more than what they came looking for is the most compelling testimony there is. I speak over you the simultaneous preparation of Cornelius and Peter. There are preparations happening right now, while you sleep. on both sides of what is coming next in your life. The person who is being sent to you is being prepared. The provision that is being sent to you is being arranged. The door that is about to open has been unlocked from the other side while you are receiving this word. You do not need to manage the preparation. It is already in progress. Sleep in the confidence that both sides of the appointment are being handled. And I want to speak specifically about what it means that the appointment was in motion before either Cornelius or Peter knew about it. The men were on their way from Caesarea to Joppa before Peter had the vision. The preparation had already been initiated on Cornelius's side before the preparation on Peter's side had even begun. This is what I mean when I say the arrangement is already in progress. The things that need to move toward you are already moving. They were set in motion before this word arrived, before the pause, before the video began. The word tonight was not the initiation of the arrangement, it was the announcement of it. The arrival of the word was the angel appearing to you the way the angel appeared to Cornelius. Your prayers have come up. The arrangement is in motion. The messenger is on the way. This is the announcement. The announcement is not the answer. It is the evidence that the answer is on its way. Cornelius still had to wait for Peter to arrive from Joppa. The journey took time. The men had to travel. Peter had to be prepared. The actual meeting, the actual filling with the Spirit, the actual conversion of his household, these happened after the announcement. But the announcement was enough to rest in. The announcement changed what the waiting was like. Because the waiting after the announcement is the waiting of the one who knows the answer is on its way, which is a completely different kind of waiting than the waiting of the one who does not yet know if anyone has heard. You know tonight, the arrangement is in motion. The answer to what you have been praying is on the way. The thing you have been waiting for has been set in motion by the one who heard before you knew you had been heard. Sleep in that. Sleep in the announcement. Sleep in the already in motion of the arrangement that was begun on both sides before you arrived here tonight. I speak over you the healing of the man at Bethesda. Get up, pick up your mat. The thing that has held you down for the time that it has held you down, the specific 38-year quality of the thing you have been living with, its time is complete. The word has been spoken, the healing has been released, and the morning that follows this sleep will find you walking in something that the yesterday version of you was not yet walking in. The mat. I want to speak specifically about the mat. He picked it up and carried it. Jesus told him to pick it up, carry the evidence of the condition, carry the record of what was, carry the mat that was the landscape of 38 years. Carry it, not to keep lying on it, not to return to it, carry it, because the carried mat is the testimony. The mat in your hands, walking, is the evidence of the distance between the lying down and the walking. The mat in your hands says, I know what the other thing felt like. I know what it was to be on this mat for longer than I can easily remember. And I know what it is to be walking now. The mat is the testimony that comes from having been on the mat, and you cannot have that testimony without the mat. Carry it, because carrying it is the evidence of the healing that happened in the space between the lying down and the walking away. Whatever your mat is, the record of the time and the condition, the evidence of the years before the healing, the marker of the season you are coming out of. Carry it, not as a burden but as a testimony. The mat in the hands of the walking man is more powerful than the mat at the side of the lying man, because the walking man with the mat proves the thing that no other evidence can prove, that what was is not what is now, that the appointment was real, that Jesus walked through the crowd to get to him specifically, and the specifically healed is now specifically walking, mat in hand, on his way to the temple to worship. I speak over you the opened eyes of Hagar. The well is there, the provision is already in the wilderness with you. You have not been abandoned in the desert. You have been placed in the exact location where the provision is, waiting for the moment when your eyes would be opened to see it. And tonight is the moment. The opening has already begun. Sleep into it. And in the morning, lift your eyes and see what has been there all along. My beloved, the appointment is complete. You were sent here. You received what was sent with you in mind. And now the keeping continues through the night. The same care that arranged the meeting continues through the sleeping that follows it. The one who directed your steps to this word does not stop directing your steps when you close your eyes. The direction continues through the night. The appointment that brought you here is the beginning of a series of appointments that are already being arranged for the days ahead. Tonight was not a standalone event. It was the first meeting in a new season of divinely arranged encounters. Let me take you deeper into the rest now. Let every breath be the breath of the found person, the one who was looking and has been found, the one who was seeking and has been met, the one who was hungry and has been fed. The Ethiopian went on his way rejoicing. The word says that explicitly. He went on his way rejoicing. And now you are on your way, into the night, into the sleeping, into the rest, and you are going rejoicing. Not because everything has been fixed in the external circumstances yet, but because the appointment was real, and what was sent has arrived, and the person who was sent this word is now the person who has received it. And that receiving changes what comes next. Let the breath come in through the nose and all the way down to the belly that has been holding the tension of the not yet knowing. Let it receive the breath fully. And on the exhale, let the belly soften. The tension of the searching, the active, working, effortful tension of the person who is still trying to find what they need, can release now. Because the finding has happened, the appointment is complete, you are on the other side of the meeting. The Ethiopian left the chariot walking toward baptismal water, and the breath that fills you now is the breath of the person who has been on the other side of the encounter. Every part of you can receive this rest now, starting from the crown of your head, where the thoughts have been cycling, where the questions have been rotating, where the mental inventory has been running its constant assessment of the day and the situation and what comes next. Let the crown of your head soften. The questions are received. The seeking has arrived at its destination. The inventory does not need to keep running tonight. Let the crown be still, and down through the forehead, where the furrow of the active mind can be released now. The forehead of the person who is still trying to figure something out holds itself a certain way, slightly contracted, slightly forward, slightly in the posture of the ongoing problem. Let it release. The figuring out part of this night is complete. You received what was sent. The problem of the not yet receiving is resolved. The forehead can be smooth now, the way the forehead is smooth in deep receiving sleep. Down through the eyes, which have been reading and seeking and watching for the thing that would arrive. The eyes of the searcher are different from the eyes of the one who has found. Let them close now, fully. The watching is finished for this night. The appointment kept its word. What was sent arrived. Close the eyes of the searcher and rest in the eyes of the found. The jaw, which has been holding its quiet tension, let it drop slightly. The mouth slightly open. The breath finding its way in and out through the mouth as well as the nose. The whole face receiving. The whole face resting in the knowledge that you were sent here and you received what was sent. Let the neck release. The neck of the person who is still vigilant, still alert, still ready to respond to what comes next. The neck can soften now. Nothing else is coming tonight that requires the vigilance. Only rest. Only the continuation of what was begun in the receiving. Let the neck release and the head fall heavy into whatever is holding it. The shoulders, the place where the weight of the season has been sitting. The weight of the carrying, the weight of the waiting, the weight of the not yet, the weight of the watching others receive while remaining as you were. Let both shoulders release downward and outward, away from the ears, away from the place they have been held during the carrying. You are not carrying alone tonight. And you were not carrying alone before tonight, even when it felt that way. The one who arranged this appointment was present in the carrying as well. But now the carrying can rest. The shoulders can be down. Breathe in and feel the chest wide open. The ribs expanding outward to receive the full breath of the person who has received the appointed word. Out, slowly. The chest releasing everything it was holding before the word arrived, and now empty, ready to receive again. Sleep now, my dear one. Sleep in the knowledge that you were found tonight by the one who goes through Samaria specifically to find you at your noon hour. Sleep in the knowledge that your prayer and your reaching have come up as a memorial before God, and that the messenger has been dispatched to your specific address. Sleep in the knowledge that the 38 years of your particular condition made you the specific one Jesus walked to through the crowd. Sleep in the knowledge that the well is already there in your wilderness, and that the eyes that see it are being opened even now. And now let the mind go completely quiet. The mind has been doing its faithful work all day, thinking, analyzing, planning, processing, responding. It has worked enough for this day. It has done what was asked of it. And now it can be still, the way the mind is still in the deepest sleep, the way the mind lets go of its commentary and its inventory and its constant assessment of the situation. Let it go still now, the way a river goes still when it reaches the deep part of the lake. The motion stops. The depth receives, and in the depth there is a stillness that the motion of the river never had. Let the whole body be heavy. Let the heaviness be the heaviness of the received, not the heaviness of the burdened. The burdened heaviness is the heaviness of too much carried too long. The received heaviness is the heaviness of the fully resting, the body that has arrived, that has been found, that has received what was sent for it and is now resting in the completion of the appointment. Let that heaviness settle you into the place where you are resting. Let it anchor you there. Let it keep you there through the night. The sleep that is coming is not an interruption of the appointment, it is the continuation of it. The things that were set in motion tonight will continue to move through the hours of the night while you sleep. The preparations that are being made on both sides of what is coming next will continue to advance while you rest. You do not need to be awake to manage them. The one who arranged tonight's appointment will manage what comes next. Your job for the next hours is simply to receive the rest that the appointment has earned you. Breathe in, deeply, the breath of the person who has been found. Hold it for a moment. Let the body be full, and out, slowly, releasing the last of the vigilance, the last of the watching, the last of the waiting to see if anything will arrive. It has arrived. You can release the waiting now, and in the space that releasing leaves, in the open, quiet, receiving space of the person who has let the watching go, let the presence fill it, the presence of the one who sent this word, the presence that is in this room right now, closer than your breath, more present than the air you are breathing. Let that presence be what fills the space that the releasing made. Let it be what you fall asleep inside of. I speak these words over you as the last thing received before the sleep takes over completely. You were not here by accident. You were sent. The message was prepared for you before you arrived to receive it. And the one who prepared it and sent it is with you through every breath of the night that is ahead. There will be a morning that follows this night. And in that morning, the person who opens their eyes will be the person who received, who was found on the desert road, who was met at the noon hour at the well, who was simultaneously prepared from both sides of the appointment, who was seen by the one who walked through the crowd, who had their eyes opened to the well that was already there in the wilderness. That is who wakes up tomorrow morning. Not the person who is still searching, still wondering, still carrying the weight of the not yet received. The person who has sent this word and received it. The person who is found. The morning of the found person is a different morning than the morning of the still searching. The Ethiopian woke up the morning after his desert encounter as a baptized man on his way home, rejoicing. The woman at the well woke up the morning after her noon encounter as the woman whose testimony had brought her entire town to faith. Peter woke up the morning after his rooftop vision in the house of Cornelius, having seen the Holy Spirit poured out on Gentiles, carrying the irrevocable evidence that God's appointment was larger than Peter's previous understanding of where God was allowed to go. The man who had been at Bethesda for 38 years woke up the morning after Jesus spoke to him as the man who was carrying his mat and walking. Hagar woke up after the encounter in the wilderness with a full water skin and a living son, and the specific word of a promise spoken over him by the God who had heard the crying. My precious child, I want to speak about the morning one more time before the sleep takes you all the way in, because the morning that follows a divine appointment is different from other mornings, and I want you to know what to expect. The morning does not arrive with fanfare. It arrives the same way every morning arrives, with the light coming through whatever window lets light in, with the ordinary sounds of the day beginning, with the ordinary requirements of a body that needs to wake up and begin the ordinary business of a day. The morning after the appointment is not a movie morning. It is an ordinary morning that is carrying an extraordinary fact, the fact of the appointment, the fact of the received word, the fact of the you who was found last night. You may feel it immediately, that particular quality of rested receiving, that sense of having been set on a different foundation during the sleep. Or you may wake up in the ordinary confusion of the first few minutes, the mind reassembling itself, not sure yet what this day is. And then it will come back, the memory of the appointment, the memory of what the word said, the memory of the 5 stories and the 5 divine meetings, and the specific quality of having been found by the one who arranged all 5. That is the morning. That is what you wake up inside of. And the first thing you do in that morning matters. Not because you will ruin the appointment if you do the wrong thing. The appointment is complete. It is not undone by the morning's choices. But because the first thing you do in the morning of the received tells the rest of the day what kind of day this is. If you wake up and immediately return to the management of the things you were managing before the pause, The day will carry the appointment forward, but it will carry it quietly, in the background, underneath the management. If you wake up and hold the appointment for a moment before the management begins, if you give the received word a moment to establish itself in the morning light before the ordinary floods back in, the day will carry the appointment differently. It will carry it forward, and the management will happen inside the appointment rather than the appointment hiding inside the management. So, tomorrow morning, before you open the applications, before you check the messages, before you begin the inventory of what the day requires, take one breath that is the breath of the appointed and the received. Let the morning know what happened last night. Let your own consciousness hold the fact of the appointment for one deliberate moment before the ordinary begins. That moment is enough. It sets the tone. It reminds the day what kind of day this is. The day after the appointment is the first day of the season that follows the appointment. And the season that follows the appointment is different from the season that preceded it, not because the external circumstances have all changed overnight, but because the person walking through the circumstances has received something that the person who walked in had not yet received. And the received word changes how the circumstances are met. It changes what is visible, and what is possible, and what is trusted, and what is feared, and what is carried, and what is released. Your morning will carry the mark of this night's appointment, not only in how you feel, though how you feel may already be different, even in this moment, than how you felt when you began, but in what you know, in the knowing that was delivered tonight, along with the word, the knowing that you were sent here, the knowing that the one who sent you here is present and active, and arranging and hearing and finding. The knowing that the wait is not abandonment, that the hiding hour is not rejection, that the 38 years is not being passed over, that the empty water skin in the wilderness is not the end, the knowing that the appointment was real, and the word was real, and the presence is real. That knowing is what you carry into tomorrow, and it is unlosable now that you have received it, in the same way that the Ethiopian could not unknow what Philip explained to him on the desert road. The explanation once received could not be unreceived, and this word, once received, cannot be unreceived. You are carrying it into the morning, and it will change what the morning holds. The appointment was real. The word was real. The presence in this room right now is real. And the rest that comes after the real appointment is the deepest rest available. The rest of the person who has been found by the one who was looking for them, who has received what was sent specifically for them, who has been told the thing they needed to hear at the exact right moment of the exact right night. I want to speak over your dreams tonight, because the sleeping is not a neutral state. What was received while awake continues to be processed in the sleeping. And sometimes the sleeping brings things the waking cannot. The image, the sense of direction, the unexpected clarity, the peace that passes understanding operating in the part of you that the waking mind cannot fully reach. The dreams tonight are inside the received appointment. They are not separate from it. They are the continuation of the word working in you, deeper than waking, deeper than the parts of yourself that are managed and curated and presented. In the sleeping, the word reaches everything. It goes all the way in. May your sleeping tonight be deep and without fear. May the anxiety that sometimes visits in the night, the 3 a.m. inventory, the sudden weight of the thing you are carrying before sleep, find the appointment there before it can take hold. Because the appointment is in the night now. The keeping is in the night, and the thing that comes at 3 a.m. to restart the worry will find instead the presence of the one who arranged the appointment, keeping watch, keeping you, keeping the night from being what the anxiety makes of it. May the morning find you ready, rested in the received, open to the next step of the direction that was operating through the steps that brought you here. Awake in the body of the person who was found on the desert road last night. The same body, the same life, the same ordinary morning circumstances, but carrying now the spring that started last night, the internal source, the water that does not require the daily trip to the external well because it is internal now, alive, welling up, already available in the first moment of the morning before the day begins. The appointment was real. You were sent. You received what was sent. And the keeping continues through everything that comes next. Let the eyes close if they are not already closed. Let the breath be slow. Let the body be heavy. Let the mind be still. Let the presence be what fills every part of the quiet that is left when everything else has released. You were sent here. You received what was sent, and the one who sent it is with you now, through the night, into the morning, into whatever comes next. Every step from here forward is a step directed by the one who directed you to this word tonight. Every tomorrow is the tomorrow of the found. My dear one, let me name the 5 things you received tonight, slowly, so that the receiving can be complete. You received the explanation you needed on your desert road, the thing you have been reading without understanding, the passage in the scroll of your own life that has seemed to describe something you could not yet make sense of, was explained tonight. Not necessarily in the form of a complete and final answer to every question, but the kind of explaining that Philip gave to the Ethiopian, starting from exactly where you are, starting from the specific passage you were already reading, moving you from the confusion of the not yet understood to the place where the door opens. The explanation arrived. The water beside the road became visible. You received the knowing of the fully known. The noon-hour woman received a conversation so specific to her actual self that she called it, "A man who told me everything I ever did." You were known tonight, all the way down, all the way into the parts you carry quietly and alone. And the knowing that found you did not leave you as it found you. The fully known person is the person who has been freed from the weight of the not yet told, because the telling has happened, and the response to the telling was not rejection, but living water. You received the announcement that the arrangement is already in motion, the prayers that arrived before you knew they had been received, the simultaneous preparation on both sides of what is coming next, the knock that is already on its way, the do not hesitate that means the door should be opened, not closed, when the unexpected arrives. You received the seeing through the crowd, the 38-year specific seeing, that Jesus walked to you through everyone else seeing, the seeing that chose you not, despite the long wait, but because of it, the seeing that commands you to get up, to pick up your mat, to walk, the seeing that will continue, in the temple tomorrow, in the ordinary places of the ordinary days that follow, because the seeing did not end when you were healed, it continues, it found you in the crowd, and it will find you in the crowd again and again. You received the opened eyes, the well that was already there was made visible, the provision in the wilderness was revealed. El Roi, the God who sees, opened the eyes of the one who had been in the wilderness beside the provision and could not see it until this hour, until this night, until the appointment was kept and the word arrived and the eyes were opened to what has been present in your landscape all along. These 5 things were sent to you tonight, and they arrived. Go on your way rejoicing. My dear one, I want to speak over the specific thing you are carrying as you go into the sleep, the thing that has been heaviest in this season, the thing that has required the most energy to hold, the thing that has woken you up in the night before this night, or that has made the nights less restful than they should be, or that has been the background note under everything else in the recent weeks and months. I do not know what it is specifically, but the one who arranged this appointment knows exactly what it is, and the word that was sent tonight was sent with exactly that thing in view. And so I speak over that thing now, the specific thing, the one you are thinking of right now, the one that surfaced when I said the heaviest thing in this season. I speak over it the same word the angel spoke over Hagar. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid because the thing is not real. The thing is real. Do not be afraid because the situation is not difficult. The situation may genuinely be difficult. Do not be afraid because the one who heard the crying in the wilderness heard it before Hagar knew she had been heard, and his response was already on its way before the eyes opened to see the well. Do not be afraid because the arrangement is in motion. Do not be afraid because you were found tonight, specifically, at the specific hour of the specific weight of the specific thing you are carrying, and the finding is the evidence that you are not carrying it alone. I speak peace over the heaviest thing, the peace that is greater than the weight of it, the peace that does not require the weight to be gone before it comes in, the peace that comes in even while the weight is still there, that coexists with the weight without pretending the weight is not real, that sits alongside the difficulty and says, I am here, the appointment was kept. You are found, and the found person is not carrying this alone, even if it still feels heavy in the morning. Breathe it in now, the peace, into the place where the heaviest thing has been sitting, into the chest that has been holding it, into the lower back that has been bracing against it, into the mind that has been turning it over in the night. Let the peace come in, all the way to the bottom of the heaviest place, and let the breath carry it there. Deep in, all the way in, and then slowly out, releasing just a little of the held weight with each exhale. You are going into the sleep, carried by the peace that was sent along with the word. The word carried peace inside it. The appointment carried peace inside it. The finding always carries peace inside it. And the peace is going with you all the way through the night, present in the deepest hours of the sleeping, present in the turning and the dreaming and the dark middle of the night, present when the eyes open again in the morning. The peace of the found. The peace of the person who knows the appointment was real. The peace that was part of what was sent to you tonight, along with the word, along with the 5 stories, along with the specific knowing that was delivered at the specific hour of the specific need. Receive it all. My precious child, I want to speak one final time over the version of you that is still uncertain, the version that has been watching and receiving, but still carries a small, quiet voice in the background saying, "This may not really be for me. This may be for other people, the ones who have done better, believed longer, struggled less. I may not be the kind of person that the divine appointment finds." To that voice, I want to speak very directly. The 5 people in tonight's stories were not the people who had done better, believed longer, struggled less. The Ethiopian was a foreigner to the faith. He had to travel to Jerusalem just to worship, and still did not understand the central text. The woman at the well had a history that excluded her from the respectable hours at the community well. Cornelius was the entirely wrong nationality by the religious reckoning of his day. The man at the pool had been in the same condition for 38 years, with no improvement. Hagar was a slave, a rejected one, alone in the wilderness with a dying child. These were not the most qualified, the most prepared, the most likely recipients of the divine appointment. They were the ones who were there, in the location where the appointment was going to be kept, in the chariot on the desert road, at the well at noon, in the house of the soldier in Caesarea, on the mat at Bethesda, in the wilderness at the end of the water. And the appointment found them there, not because they had earned it, not because they were more deserving than the crowd, but because they were the ones it was addressed to. You are the one it was addressed to tonight, not because of your record, not because of the quality of your seeking, or the consistency of your faith, or the cleanliness of the history you carry to the well, because you were the one who was there, in the location where this word was being sent, in the hour when the appointment was going to be kept, and you paused, and you stayed, and you received. That is enough. That is exactly enough. The Ethiopian did not do more than open the scroll and ask for an explanation. The woman did not do more than show up at the well. Cornelius did not do more than pray and give at his house in Caesarea. The man at the pool did not do more than lie there for 38 years and answer the question when it was asked. Hagar did not do more than cry. And each of them received the appointment because they were there when the appointment arrived. You were there, you are here, and the appointment was real. Receive it all, and now, rest. The one who directed your steps to this word tonight is directing them all the way through the night, all the way into the morning, all the way into the days that follow. You do not have to navigate from here. You were not navigating before tonight. The direction was operating in the steps you were taking without knowing you were being directed. And the direction will continue, with or without your management of it, with the same faithfulness that sent the word and arranged the appointment and kept the meeting and delivered what was prepared. The Ethiopian did not worry about how the rest of the journey home to Ethiopia was going to go after Philip was taken away by the Spirit. He just went on his way rejoicing. The appointment was complete, the journey would continue, and the rejoicing was the appropriate response to the completion. Go on your way rejoicing, my dear one, into the sleep first, and then, in the morning, into the day. Rejoicing, not because everything is resolved, but because the appointment was real, the word arrived, the one who sent it is present, and the direction continues. The Ethiopian went on his way rejoicing, not knowing every detail of what was ahead, not knowing how every question of his life was going to resolve, carrying the explanation he had received, and the baptism that had happened, and the joy that comes after the receiving, just rejoicing, in the chariot, on the road toward home. This is your chariot, this is your road toward home, and this is the rejoicing of the person who was found on the desert road, who received the explanation they needed, who received the water they needed, who is now going on their way carrying what was given. Good night, my precious one. The appointment was kept, and the one who kept it is with you through the night, and will be with you in the morning, and will be with you in every ordinary day that follows, directing the steps, arranging the appointments, sending the words that are needed to the address where you will be, in the hour when you are ready to receive them. El Roi sees you, now and always. Good night.